Squad up, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of The Squad. We are back. Jay, how are you?
I'm chilling. It's been a pretty emotional time, I guess. But I feel like no. Let me not say emotional. No, it has been emotional. Let me stop. It's been a processing time, if that makes sense. But it's been good. Stuff got to get out on the table.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have it any other way.
Of course, better out than in.
Thanks, Shrek.
That's where that comes from.
Better out than in, I always say.
Oh wow.
Shrek.
It's the same. I ain't gonna say same. Kind of same, just because I did, like I told you at Bible study, I did have a moment where I realized like something is still affecting me. And I realized like I need to go back to therapy and never leave.
It'd be like that. I'm saying the same thing, man.
Yeah, so I thank God he's put me in a position where I can get back in therapy consistently. But yeah, I need to be in that thing and never leave, because stuff I thought didn't affect me, or just it's trauma responses that I didn't think I still had, I still have. And so that's been great. It went better than it normally would in the past, because it was something with my mom. So in the past, stuff has been terrible. But
has it been a mom week?
I don't know. I mean, it was just one day, but like,
same.
And it wasn't even anything on her part. It was like the way a situation panned out, it affected. Like, so when I grew up, and even through college, like whenever there would be a time where my mom would say like, we need to talk, it's bad. And so one of those moments happened this week where she was just like, I need to talk to you about something. And I drank a water of her. She had a CBD water, and I drank it, and I didn't know that she wanted it. And I thought that it was for me because it had just been sitting in the refrigerator. So I just figured, oh, maybe she did let me have it. And so I drank it. And then she said she needed to talk, because she left the bottle out on the table. I said, I know I threw this away. And I said, why is this out? And she said, I need to talk to you about it. And I said, oh no, I did something wrong. And that's like immediately where my mind went to, like, I did something wrong. I tensed up, and just got scared. And then I broke down because I hated that I was still in that place. And I started crying after, like, we talked about it or whatever, and I just started crying. She said, why are you about to cry? And I was like, because I'm still in that place and I don't like it. And I thought I was no longer in that place. And which is fine. I've been asking God to reveal stuff to me like that I still need to work on, so that's fine. But yeah. And then there was something she said that kind of like had me about to really react. And I was just like, that ain't what I meant. Because she was just like, well, that's you. That you ain't gonna put that on me. And I'm not trying to put nothing on you.
Bro, like the way parents be triggered when you be trying to have conversations with them about how you feel.
Yes.
That is so annoying.
No, but it's fine. Like, I know that's something she still needs to work on too. Like, that was a day. That was like Tuesday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. And so, yeah, but it's fine now. Like, normally that would have been something that would have lingered for days, and it didn't. Like, we were straight. It was Monday, because come Tuesday we were good. But yeah, also yesterday, so I'm in the process of becoming a member at this church, and I really like their membership process, because it's like, we really trying to make sure that you are a good fit for our church. Like, it's understanding like the church is a community. And so it's like, do we have the same values? Like, you may not you may not be part of the same value system as our church, or we just may view things differently, and I don't want that to create a rift between you and the congregation and da da da. So I like that. So the way that they're doing it is like everybody has an elder that they have to meet with, and so I met with my elder yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And we just talked a little bit. He just wanted to talk, get to know me, and when I tell you, I really, really like this church because it focuses so much on discipleship and what it means to actually know God and know Jesus and to live life with Him. I love it. And so I had that yesterday, and he asked questions that like it made me think like, wow, these are questions like I never actually thought of. And because it's about like their thing that they say, every church got their thing that they say at the end of service. And so their thing is a scripture from Matthew where Jesus tells us to go out and make disciples. And so that he asked questions basically about like, how would you share the gospel with somebody else? And I've never really taken the time to sit down and think, like, organize my thoughts and be like, how would I present it to someone in a way that they can understand? Because I'm always like, well, I understand it this way. And I have to like know, like, everybody doesn't think like me. So I have to be able to work to orchestrate my verbiage in a way that anybody can understand it. And so that had me thinking, but then also some questions that he asked that really like made me think about how many Christians are in this position where they are met with these questions and don't know what to say, and then other people suffer because of it, or turn away because of it, or are just confused, more and more confused because of it, or just get angry. Is he asked the question, he asked two questions: what does the cross mean to you? And then he also asked, why did Jesus have to die? The cross, that one was pretty like, for me, it was just like, that was a way that criminals died through crucifixion. And in a way, Jesus was putting to death the ultimate criminal. So that's how I see that. But when he asked me, why did Jesus have to die? I was like, I don't know. Like, that's something I haven't asked God about. And I just like, it's just something that I've just accepted. Like, yeah, Christ died, but I never thought about why he had to. Like, and it's easy to say, well, it's just because it's who God chose. Because then somebody can come back and say, well, why didn't he choose somebody else? So that's something that I'm like in the place of asking God about right now. Like, well, can you reveal that to me? Why did he have to die? And I think there's value in that. And I want to like suggest that to our listeners, like really be okay with questioning your faith and presenting those questions to God and trusting that he'll lead you to the answer, and ask the question not from a place of I need to know this, but like understanding that how you know something, how you understand something will affect how somebody else comes to believe. And again, a lot of people, when I just remember sitting with somebody and watching these videos where atheists would ask these people questions, these Christians questions that they were not able to answer. And the atheists would always be like, you see, this is why I don't believe, because you can't even give me a straight answer. And it's really just because nobody has taken the time to ask God these questions or to consider it. And sometimes we're just told, like, don't question God, which is in the Bible, not to question God, but there's caveats to that. And that's in the Bible too. But I think it's there's a lot of value in saying like, I don't understand this and I want to be able to understand it so that I can help other people understand it as well. So that when you send somebody my way who needs to hear the gospel, I am able to share it with them in a way that is effective. And if they have further questions, I'm able to share with you the answers that you've given me, that they in a way that they can understand. And it's like how God revealed it to me is like, think about it as continuously improving your career skills and your development. It's spiritual professional development, basically, because we're all here for a mission, and it's going to help us. Asking these questions or presenting these questions to God is going to help us to be more effective in our mission here. So that's been my week.
It's just been a hectic time of processing.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say it's hectic. It's just a lot of processing.
Hectic on my end. Well, I don't even know if I can call it hectic. It's just like, wow, that's why.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have like generational curse like revelations.
Them be tricky. Them be a mess.
My mama had about, apparently we was in a reality show. And everybody was in it except for one particular family member.
Mm-hmm.
And based off the one particular family member was the only one that was replaced with an actress. And for some reason, that family member was like treating us bad, treating us horrible. Apparently, doing whatever. And, it's yelling at them like, they never wanted them around, da da this, da da that. Boom. Mama ended up like apparently the dream got into it with said person. And like she woke up, she was like, I thought I was over that. And in the conversation that we had afterwards, she was like, man, that person used to say this all the time to us, all the time growing up. I said, well, Mom, you kind of perpetuated the generational curse of it, and the cycle continued because you ended up saying that to me. And the conversation came down to, well, I only said that to you once.
But
and
you
I'm
said
one is too many times.
Yeah.
But it was the seeing of the issue that there was no problem with saying it, period. And the competition of I had it worse.
Oh.
Situation.
Not the oppression Olympics.
And like, well, you only heard it one time. We had to hear it all the time. Da, 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 da. And I was just like, that don't make it okay.
Right.
But there was just like no processing of that. There was no entryway into that conversation after that. Like it didn't even process to her what I said, because it was just all about the frequency. Not the impact, the frequency. And I just sat down outside and I was just like, man.
Wow.
It was like later on that night, I was like, man, that just makes so much sense now. Because the conversation changed to like, this is the problems that we having. And I had a conversation, no, it was about Bible study, we was talking about it, but it was just like, everybody got these traumas and all these things, and these things that happened in the past are still affecting them, but they act like they so present. And I get the mental health aspect of it, but then it comes a time where you got to be like, all right, so what I'm finna do now?
Yeah.
And that was a conversation I was having with my mom. I was like, so I understand these things have happened, but what are we going to do now?
Right.
And she ain't had no answer. I was just like, yeah, ain't nobody trying to have no answer either. And that's the sad part. Like, nobody is trying to have an answer. They're just rather,
Well, maybe, go ahead.
I'm listening.
I was just gonna say maybe like it's for you to make a suggestion, on how to move past it or how to do something now. Like say, okay, well, Mom, I get let's talk about our conversation we had. I get that this is where you were, or what has happened to you or what has happened in your life, but I asked you, what are we going to do now? And you didn't have an answer for me. Is it because you don't know what to do, or because you don't want to? Or or if you don't feel comfortable saying that, just say, like, can I make a suggestion on something to do, and present therapy, whether it's family therapy, individual therapy.
I'm gonna go and be honest with you. They ain't doing it. They not. And me bringing up the conversation is a fight.
So maybe this is your time to seek God on their behalf, and seek God for doing a work in their heart to even just get them, to nudge them to be in that place where they do want to heal, where they do want to do something about it. Maybe it's not for you to say, like, well,
I don't think it's anything for me to do, if that makes sense.
It's always for you to pray.
I think
that's
the
one
thing that's
thing
why
you can do. It's
no,
always for you to pray.
That's not what I mean by that. That's not what I mean. You know, what I'm saying is, I have always been accustomed of trying to make stuff happen on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm in a time and space to where it's like, nah, it's not. I don't need to do that.
Got it.
The praying on the behalf is probably where I need to be.
Yeah.
Because in other ways and other times of my life, me trying to make something happen is when stuff got worse.
Okay.
Especially when I was only doing it out of my own power anyway. So now I'm looking at stuff like, maybe these things are coming out and I'm starting to process stuff in my family of, and I think we talked about it before, of the episode of, am I learning these things to make change, or am I learning these things to have lessons?
Mm.
Because some things may not change. And am I going to be okay with that being that way,
right,
and still being able to make my life and my family moving forward not be the same? Or is it for me to intervene on their behalf through prayer for a change? That's where I'm kind of at, trying to figure out that part. I'm going to pray regardless, but it's more like, am I praying for understanding, for lessons, or am I praying to figure out, or for God to come and intervene for change? That's why I'm trying to figure out what he wants me to do in these moments. Because I don't know. I know it's not me doing anything physically or forcing the issue. Because even when I had the conversation with my mom, I was like, look, like, because a lot of times we used to argue and fight our times just as a family. And I was just like, hey, ever since that last one we had, I was like, I said I was out.
Mm-hmm.
And not like out on the family, but out on the fight.
Right.
Because I was like, it don't do nothing. If anything, and then when I felt how much the devil tried to like influence my thoughts and emotions during that time,
mm-hmm.
I was just like, yeah, nah, I'm straight. Because it was so easy. And the fact that it was so easy is what was scary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I just took a step back and was like, you know what? Y'all want to fight.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to talk or forgive. I am not going to fight. Because some of this stuff that I'm in fights for, I wasn't even born to even be around to even have an opinion.
Mm.
Like, I was nowhere near any of this. And some of this stuff literally has nothing to do with me. It affects me because it's continuous, but it literally has nothing to do with me. And them the days I just be like, yeah, nah, I'm straight. I can no longer be a part of this situation in the capacity that everybody else is in.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make anything better. If anything, I make stuff worse because I wasn't supposed to be a part of this in the first place. So I just took a step back and I was just like, I told my folks straight up, I said, the reason we ain't been fighting because we ain't been talking.
Wow.
And I said, the real reason why we ain't been fighting because I ain't been getting none. Truthfully, I was just like, yeah, no, like stuff been popping up. And I can tell they moments where it should be a fight or argument. And I just be like, yep, nope. Or either it turns into a fight or argument, and I just stay out of it. Because I just be like, you know what? Nope. Can't get my piece to it.
But that's good. I think even that's good. That's a step in progress, because after a while they gonna see like, he not in this no more.
And the thing about it is they try to toxically drag me back into it because they will call you out about not being in it, like you're trying to be better. And it's like, no, I just don't want to be a part of it. Like,
not from a like arrogant place, but like I am trying to be better because this is not helping anything or anybody.
It ain't. And I just be like, bro, do y'all not see how? And it's so crazy to be in such a spiritual family to see how easy the devil manipulates. And I'm like, y'all don't see what's going on here? Like, nobody. Crazy. I just be like, bro, y'all just, it gets to a point where I'm like, y'all asking for this.
Yeah.
And I get to the point where I'm just like, okay, man, you want to be in chaos. You want to not forgive. Because ain't no way.
But even with that though, because I've had that thought too, like, you want this. But sometimes people, one, of course, we know people only do what they know. But with that in mind, when you know nothing else but chaos, the unknown is scary.
And they'll fight the unknown tooth and nail.
Yeah, you cling to what you know.
And you know what? There is a bar. Oh man, I gotta give it to baby when I talked to her today. But it was a bar from a song, and it was it was an anime song, but it was a Jujutsu Kaisen anime song. And boy, the bar was amazing. And the line went, when you've been living through trauma, it's often the need to let go that will hit you the hardest.
Absolutely.
And I just sat there and was like, whew, whew.
Think about letting go of toxic relationships. You know you need to, but it's so hard because it's all you know. And not just a particular toxic relationship, just toxic relationships in general. Think about when you get into a good relationship and you don't know how to handle it, because it's hard to let go of what you know. You know dysfunction. And so when you get into something that's actually functional, it's strange. And you try to, you subconsciously create dysfunction because you can't let go of the dysfunction.
And you start doing self-sabotage because you don't know how to handle it, or you don't understand it, or the infamous, because I've had somebody tell me this, I thought you were going to do it, so I went and did it before you did. And I was finna go nowhere near it. Like, the fact that
God wants you to heal before you get into anything new. Before you get into anything new, before you get into a reconstructing period, there is a destructive period. You have to undo everything that you know. You have to unlearn everything that you know. So that when you go into this period of newness, of reconstruction, you don't bring that with you.
And even then, I would say too, like, even in the reconstruction period or the new period, I guess when I talk about relationships, sometimes God brings you your person in order to show you your healing. Not saying it gives you an excuse to not try to heal on your own, but there are some things I have learned that you heal on your own with, and you heal with support with. Because sometimes whoever your partner that's supposed to be in your life will come around, and the stuff that was so bad for you, or at least that you thought was horrible as you, they're going to be like, that ain't nothing, right?
But even not just with romantic relationships, that's with
friendships too.
Because you can want to enter these healthier friendships, but you only know unhealthy friendships. And so and there's, even with that, God will present you with, there's some stuff you got to heal about yourself with, but then God will present you with people to help you and to support you along the way. as you heal because they've gone through certain things, or they see it from a healthier perspective.
Exactly. Side note, you hungry?
Facts.
I'm hungry. I don't know what it is, but something just came over me. It was just
But I've been fasting today, so it's not like it's fine. Like I got like an hour left of this fast. So
man,
but
I'm gonna tell you something that's really terrible. Well, because I'm gonna tell you something terrible. Just as a side note, do you know there's a restaurant called Cosmic Wings?
No.
And they have Cheeto flavors.
That don't surprise me, but
no,
I
no.
never heard of Cosmic Wings.
It's scary. So they have original Cheetos wing sauce. And then they have flaming hot Cheetos.
I've seen something like that before.
Wing sauce. But this is at a restaurant, not like a TikTok.
No, I've seen that. Like, I've seen a restaurant do it. Like,
I'm terrified.
What restaurant did that? It was like a hot Cheetos chicken nugget or something like that. I don't know. One of them chains did it.
See, I'm terrified, but then I'm interested.
See,
like I shouldn't be doing this, but then I'm like, because they got cheese bites that you can have flaming hot cheese bites.
I mean, that sounds fine. Like that sounds like that sounds more normal than flaming hot chicken.
Sounds as ratchet as it's supposed to be. Hey, boneless wings with Cheeto flaming hot wing sauce. And then they got it in boneless and traditional.
Well, if that's what you want to do, then that's your business.
I don't know if I want to do that because I'm like I said, I'm scared. And they got flavored lemonades in multiple flavors, like blue raspberry, dragon fruit. So it's like, but then, but yeah.
I ain't even gonna lie. With that chicken, that sounded like somebody was high, and they was just like, you know what? We can make a restaurant out of it.
I mean, boy, I ain't even gonna hold you. If you see these pictures, yeah. Because this is, I know I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Man, one thing that started processing to me, and this is still the Before Christ series, or shall I say, it's like the Before Christ series / when you and Christ might have been in flux.
Okay.
That's what I kind of think of, because it wasn't like Christ wasn't there, that me and God wasn't vibing.
Okay.
So I was a believer at that point, but it was just like the world had caught up to me. And there is just, I don't know if nobody else feel it, or at least this is how I feel during it. But there's just this period in your life when you're not as connected to God as you want to be, or maybe not connected at all, period. And you feel like there is just a feeling of walking through darkness, or a feeling of walking into like nothingness, to where you just always feel lost in a way. Even when you feel like you got it together, it's still like that feeling of something's missing, or you can't really figure out life type per se. And for me, it was just like, I went through this period to where, and I literally just had a conversation about this recently, that I was just empty. Like, I felt like I was always wandering through darkness trying to grasp at something. That's what the feeling felt like. And it was like that even when, I was accomplishing all these great things that people consider great at the time. And now that I'm kind of like better, I can say, yeah, I did do some great stuff. But at the time, I did not see it like that whatsoever. And it was because I was accomplishing great things, but I still felt empty and I still felt lost. And I felt like I was just stumbling through the darkness. And it's a weird place to be. I kind of call it the void of just, you just feel engulfed in darkness or surrounded by darkness, or you just look like you just wander through darkness and there's no way out of certain stuff.
Right.
Or there's like no way out of the emptiness or certain situations that you may be in during that time. And I guess the only connection I can make to it is that those are the times where you need to seek God the hardest, or if you never known him, like I would say usually in that darkness there is an encounter.
X.
Like there's going to be something that happens whether you know him or not. Right. That is going to be some form of an encounter that make you go like, oh yeah, okay, either you're real or I'm coming back to you, something.
Yeah. For me, I don't know, like from the perspective, well, I ain't even gonna say I don't know from the perspective of that, because I do, like I know from the perspective of when I was trying to believe in God and I still felt that emptiness. And then I also know from the perspective of when I didn't.
Same.
And I felt that emptiness and I had an encounter. And for me, the encounter came when, so the emptiness was, I definitely relate to like the emptiness of, for me, it was really just like, is this how it's always going to be?
Right.
Which I think contributed to the depression, because there was something like, while I was asking that question, something was coming back and saying, yes, this is always how it's going to be. And it was like, I don't feel good about myself. I don't have money. I feel like I'm scrambling, trying to make it. I can't keep my head above water. I feel like I'm drowning. Like I don't want to feel like this all the time. Is it always how this is gonna be? And I think this is just what a lot of people who face depression and anxiety experience. Like, is this how it's always going to be? And
will I ever be free of this?
Will I ever be free of this? And I didn't start feeling freedom until I came to Christ. But like before that, and even for a while after I came to Christ, I still was like, am I ever gonna feel normal again? Is this always how it's going to be? Because I could think back and I was like, I don't remember consciously feeling like this, feeling this wound up, feeling this bound. I don't consciously remember feeling like this, even though I may have been in that position. But I think there came a time where God kind of was just like, basically he tore the veil and was like, all right, you gonna feel what's really going on.
Yeah, and truth be told, that's how I died. Because during the time of going through that, it felt like normal everyday stuff.
And then after a while, it's like God's like, this is not normal. No.
Yeah.
And suddenly something just happens and it's like, why do I feel like this? You've always felt like this. You've just been numb to it the whole time. And now God is like, let's let you feel this. Let's let you feel what's really going on, so you can see that a change needs to be made. And those are those moments. I was reading The Power of a Praying Woman today, and the part that the part that Stormy talks about, that's the author. Her name is Stormy O'Martian.
Thank God it ain't Daniel's. Lord have mercy.
The part that she talks about, this particular part is when she's in the ocean, and it's like when you're in the ocean and you feel the floor, but then you suddenly feel the floor disappear from under you.
Yep.
Now you going under.
It feel, and then when I tell you, I felt like that for years.
It's just like, okay, I'm just wading in the water and I'm just gonna keep walking, and then
And
God is just like,
nope, flute. And I sometimes it's God, and sometimes it's literally the world just saying, yeah, nah. Sometimes the world will put you in a false sense of security.
Absolutely, because the world tells you that this is normal. Everybody feels like this. Everybody goes through this. This is just life. This is how it's always supposed to be.
And they ain't supposed to be nowhere near.
Hear that.
Like, life is not easy, but it ain't supposed to be like that.
Right. And so the encounter that I had with God, like, first it was that bird that I saw. And I saw this huge white bird that I had never seen. I looked it up on the internet. I was like, is this native to Alabama? Like, I've never seen this bird ever in life. And
you was at my house when you saw it.
I was at Jay's house, and I saw it, and it flew in the form of a 7. And so it then flew to this, or the direction that I saw it fly to was like this big open green space that Jay had in his neighborhood. And so I saw that and I said, let me go see if this bird is back here, because something just told me it wasn't. I said, I know, someone was just like, this bird disappeared. This and that. Something was telling me like it was something spiritual, but I didn't want to believe it. I said, no, I bet that bird is still back there. So I went to find it. That bird was nowhere to be found. And so we go, and I go and I say, Jay, I just saw this big bird, this big white bird, and I don't know what it is. I've never seen it before. It's not native to Alabama. And Jay was just like, God. I said, what?
Yep.
And then soon after that, like a couple days later, I saw some clouds in the shape. Like, I looked up in the sky and like there was a shape of the bird like flying in the, like from the same direction. I said, okay. And then the next encounter I had after that was I had a dream where I saw this dark figure coming into my room, and it came into my room, went into my closet, and then I heard something call my name and I woke up. And so how I see that is, before the darkness got me, God woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last encounter I had with God before I gave my life to Christ was something told me, because I was still trying to use the Bible for witchcraft. A lot of people use the Bible for witchcraft. But I opened the Bible and I was like, something was just like, well, maybe I'll find something. Maybe my ancestors will lead me somewhere in the scripture. Oof. And it was Matthew 6:33. And I was reading, but then I started going back. And I was like, okay, well, let me go back to read this. And all I saw was, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. Because I was looking for peace. I was like, well, maybe maybe I can find some peace in here, something that would bring me some peace. And all I saw was, seek ye first the kingdom of God. Seek God first. And I was just like, what? And now I'm here. And just know, if you are in the void, if you're in a space where you're like, is it always going to be like this? Am I ever going to figure it out? I feel like I'm just walking in darkness, and you don't know God. That encounter coming. And even if you don't think it is, I pray that you have one, because there's so much beauty in it. Like,
or shall I say, I pray that you have it and you are aware of what it is.
Aware of what it is, yes, because you can have it and now you know. Because and be open to receiving what it is, because I didn't even want to believe that's what it was.
Nope.
And so I pray that you are open to receiving it, and that that God opens your eyes to help you see what it is. Cause man, it's so beautiful, and to be in this place, like feeling like I am finally in a place of normalcy again, and what normal actually should be. I feel more me than I've ever felt. I feel like I am actually being who I am supposed to be. It's an awesome feeling.
And even if you don't feel like that, it's still like you're on the path
You're on the.
forward.
It's not. You're not gonna start out like that. I'm gonna just tell you right now. You're not gonna start out feeling like that.
If anything, you gonna quit. Because it gets to a point where it's just like you're so conditioned by the trauma of the world, you just question anything that looks nice or could be nice. Same way in relationships.
And I'm gonna be real honest. Like for a while, I was expecting the rug to be pulled out from under me. Like it took some time for me to really trust God. Like trust that this is not He not trying to get me back for doing wrong or anything like that. Like I really had to trust like God loves me and He want to see me straight. He want to see me good.
I think trust in general with God can be, not saying shaky. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
Because you're trusting, especially when you look at it from like a father relationship type thing. Sometimes we have a lack of trust in God due to the circumstances we've had with people, forgetting the fact that He's not people.
Right.
But that trauma of trust from other relationships, we go into our relationship with God, and that's the reason we have such a lack of it. Because you just like, if these folks then set up here and betray me, I mean, I see your word, but you know.
Absolutely. And when you read His word, when you actually take the time to really read His word and start to understand it, you start to see the difference between God and people. And you start to realize, yeah, you're not like them.
Because if you was, boy.
You was like, if you look at how God has handled His people all throughout history, when you connected to God, whatever you do, like you may see some stuff that be like, why would you do that to them if you love them? It was all consequences. It was consequences of their own actions, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. They gotta learn. That way it come from. I be sitting up here like, I really be trying to help y'all, but y'all really don't want to listen to me. So I gotta make you learn to save your life. So boom.
Right. A lot of, like I saw something that somebody was like, so basically like God only loves me if I'm doing what He says. That's not unconditional love. And it's like that's not what He's saying at all. He loves you even when you're not doing what He's saying. The things that happen in your life are consequences of your actions, whether good or bad. God knows what the good consequences are of you being in alignment with the life that He has for you. But once you are outside of that, all hell gonna break loose. And God will allow it for you to learn from it. If He's allowing it, trust that He's got you in the fold. But you gonna have to see like, okay, you know what? I probably shouldn't have done this because this got me here. And maybe if I hadn't done this, I probably wouldn't have gone through this.
Right.
But yeah, that trust with God, it does take time to build up, and it's very possible. With God, all things are possible. And so even be honest and say like, I'm having a hard time trusting you. Because that's what I had to do. Like I was like, I don't fully trust you because I've seen what this person has done to me, or I'm scared that I've done so wrong that you won't fully accept me, or I've done so wrong that you gonna turn it all around on me. You gonna flip the script on me, and I'm gonna think everything is going good, and really like the other shoe gonna drop, and then that's gonna be
it. I felt like that because I used to feel like And I think I still battle this from time to time, and I think I need to go into conversation with the Lord about it. But I have been like, okay, Lord, I'm trying to trust you, but it's hard because it don't look right. My life don't look right. And when I put my trust in the people, they have failed me. Or at least if they ain't failed me, they didn't use me, or I thought it was going right, and then it just all fell apart. So for the people that like really struggle with trust, I'm not saying it's easy. Never will. But what I will say, in the times that I know I fully committed to trust, it all was perfect. But I will say, sometimes you have to renew your trust in God like a subscription.
Yeah.
Because you get into parts in your life where you just like, all right, I'd have been through some stuff now. Now I'm like, okay, God, what I don't know now. If you want me to do what? Why would I do that? Why that don't even sound right. What? I don't want to do that. Now then that gets to the conversation of what you don't want to do. Because then is it trust or you just don't want to do? Because I feel like then God can really work in the trust area. He can't make grown folks do nothing. That's what he gave us free will for a reason.
Right.
So he want to know that will you do what he wants you to do out of love and not begrudgingly. Right. Even if you do it begrudgingly, he at least wants you to try to step forward.
Because he like God can understand and be like, God does understand when you're like, God does understand when you're like, I don't
apprehensive
do this. I'm gonna do it because I love you.
But I ain't really fooling with this though, right. Real talk. I ain't rocking with this too heavy.
And like, that's when you gotta be like, that's when you gotta just trust and be like, maybe you see something I don't, but I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, partner. I don't know about this, playboy.
I had a moment like that this past week. Which, when God tell you to do something, do it the first time.
Boy, I'm telling you.
When God tell you not to do something, listen the first time. And just trust that like your earthly mind cannot comprehend what he knows. Yes, it's hard. It don't make no sense to you. Sometimes it can even be strange or awkward. And it pushes you out very much out of your comfort zone. But trust that God's plans and ways are always higher, always better than anything we could ever conceive. That's what his word tells us. And that is what I absolutely know to be true as well, just based on experience.
And it gets to the point where you just be like, I done tried everything else.
Yeah.
I might as well.
Yeah. It's like, this don't make sense. But a lot of the stuff that I did in the past did make sense to me, and it didn't work out too well. So let me try this thing that don't make sense that God suggested me to do.
And that's why I just like when you're in that dark space of just trying to process it all out or trying to figure out what's what and all these other situations, please believe. Just understand that you're gonna be all right. Like, you can't trust nobody else. Least we can do. Because it get to a point where you just like, bro, I ain't got nothing else but and this will happen to folks too. God will literally be like, hey, or will put you'll be in a situation where you can't do nothing but trust God. And I would rather folks not have to feel that, if that makes sense.
Because it's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. The journey of growing to trust God is fun in its own strange way. But getting to being in a place where it's like, I ain't got nothing else, trash every time. Anything else you have to add, my good sir?
I need people to really just sit with that one, because it's gonna be I'm telling you. Yeah. Woo. In my opinion, man, look, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm processing it. Even if it don't look right, try it. Even if it don't feel right, try it. You can try everything else. And even if you ain't tried nothing yet, try this first. So I'm telling you, you don't want to go through that. It gets to a point where you just gonna be feeling like you walking around in circles.
Yes.
Like you just walking and ain't getting nothing from it. You just running and ain't get. Well, you on a hamster wheel, you on a track, you in a box. That's what it really feel like. You just in a box.
And understand that that'll let you know that you are. How you will know that you are without God is you will be in a box, because God cannot be put in a box.
That's
so when you feel like you are in a box, God is not present with you, because God ain't in no box.
And sometimes God on the outside of the box just looking at you, looking like an idiot. I ain't gonna
and then that's when you gotta be like, all right, I know now, I realize now that I am in a place where God is not present with me, and I am not present with the Lord. Help me out of this box, please.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get out of this box? Open the lid.
Like, bro, not even that. How do I get out of this box? There's literally a door in front of you. Right. You just walk out of it. I can do a lot for you if you just walk out of the door.
He is at the door knocking.
Turn me loose. Turn me loose. Brandy gonna hurt me for that. But anyway, yeah, man, just try it. You ain't got nothing else to lose.
You really don't. Listen, that was the place that I was in, honestly. Like I realized like God had been reaching out, but also it was just like, I really ain't got nothing else to do. I done tried everything else.
I tried everything else, bro. Why not? Why not? I might as well go ahead and just, wiggy, wah, wah. Where did that come from?
Wow.
What is that?
Never heard that.
I've never said it before, but now I'm gonna roll with it. Wiggy, wiggy, wah, wah, wah.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't watch too much Rick and Morty.
Well,
wiggy, wiggy, wah,
that's
wah.
all I have. Do you have anything else, Jay?
Wiggy, wiggy, wah, wah.
This has been the squad.
Boy, go on, get out there, wiggy, wiggy, wah, wah.
This has been another episode of The Squad. Jay is. I don't know where Jay is. But we hope you have enjoyed this episode. We have enjoyed sharing this space with you.
I can't breathe.
This week. And we look forward to doing it again next week. Love, peace, and pink hair grease.
Yeah. I can't breathe. Where you are?